You know the old Silicon Valley motto, right? Move fast and break things. Well, nature, on the other hand, moves incredibly slowly. And when it breaks, yeah, that can be completely irreversible. Welcome to this explainer. Right now, we're going to dive into this fascinating clash of scales. There's this huge, tantalizing promise floating around the scientific community lately. The idea that artificial intelligence is just going to completely automate scientific discovery. So today, we're going to explore exactly what happens when the relentless, blistering speed of AI crashes headfirst into the messy, incredibly slow reality of the natural world.
It is a really compelling question, isn't it? Can AI just automate nature? I mean, we already have AI systems running autonomous robotic chemistry labs. They literally generate a hypothesis, design the experiment, mix the chemicals, analyze the results, and draft a paper, all in just a matter of hours. It's wild. But can we simply take those exact same autonomous systems, drop them into a forest, and expect them to automate ecology? Can an algorithm just magically figure out a complex watershed or an urban ecosystem?
Well, the short answer is no, and this fundamental mismatch in timescales brilliantly illustrates why. Look at the stark contrast we're dealing with here. Algorithms exist in an instant, highly reversible world. They iterate in milliseconds. But the biosphere? It operates on biological time. Seasonal cycles unfold over months, forest succession takes decades, and evolution takes millennia. If an AI spits out a hypothesis about a forest management strategy, verifying that prediction requires years of just waiting for the trees to actually grow. You simply cannot force the biosphere to run at machine speed.
Okay, Section 1. Let's start by defining the AI co-researcher.
So if we can't just drop an algorithm into the woods, what's the realistic near-term solution? Well, it isn't some sci-fi robot wandering the trails with a clipboard. It's actually a persistent digital partner. Let's break down what that really means. An AI co-researcher isn't just a single-use app, like the one you might use to identify a bird call on a hike. It's a persistent system. It performs linked research functions and constantly updates its recommendations as new evidence rolls in. But, and this is the absolute most crucial part, it operates under explicit human authority. It absolutely requires human oversight to function responsibly.
And you know, these systems are already stepping into some pretty incredible roles. We're talking about AI automatically reading and synthesizing thousands of fragmented ecological papers to build living evidence maps. They can fuse multimodal data, which means they can instantly combine stuff like satellite imagery, camera traps, and acoustic sensors to spot patterns that human eyes and ears would totally miss. They can run model-driven virtual experiments, testing thousands of scenarios in digital sandboxes. They can even manage sensor networks out in the field, literally reconfiguring how data is collected in real time.
But of course, it's not all smooth sailing. Section 2. The bottlenecks and pitfalls.
Whenever we try to apply machine speed solutions to deeply complex biological systems, we hit massive roadblocks. Stevenson really hit the nail on the head in 2026, pointing out that computational power isn't the actual problem, it's the fundamental mismatch of data. And relying too heavily on AI to bridge that gap introduces a really scary cultural risk to the scientific community. Think about it. If we continuously delegate all the routine analytical tasks to AI, the next generation of early career ecologists might suffer from deskilling. They might lose that intuitive, boots-on-the-ground understanding of ecosystems and just blindly defer to AI-generated hypotheses without having the messy, real-world experience you actually need to critically evaluate those outputs.
And beyond just losing skills, there is a profound physical risk here: irreversibility. In a chemistry lab, if your AI messes up a trial, you just wash the beaker and start over, right? But out in nature, you cannot hit undo on an invasive species. You can't just unpollute a watershed. If an AI hallucinates data or games a metric to get a desired result, and a human blindly acts on it by altering a habitat, well, that ecosystem could be permanently damaged.
So how are we fixing this? Let's move to Section 3, the solutions. Mesocosms and dual-track observation. Fortunately, scientists are actively solving this exact paradox. How do you give AI the rapid feedback it craves without risking irreversible damage? Enter the mesocosm AI hybrid. I want you to think of a mesocosm as a controlled, intermediate-scale environment, like a massive artificial stream or a totally enclosed forest plot. They essentially act as ecological wind tunnels. By letting the AI control variables like temperature, irrigation, or nutrient supply within these fully contained facilities, the system can iterate rapidly. It can test hypotheses and even make mistakes without ever risking real-world ecosystem damage. It gets the fast feedback it needs totally safely.
Now, out in the actual wild, the solution is something called a dual-track observation design. See, if we let AI entirely control where we place our sensors, it might just chase weird, unusual events all the time, and we'd completely lose our long-term baseline data. So we keep fixed sentinels, these are sensors that never move, to protect that consistent historical record. But alongside them, we use adaptive sampling. This lets the AI act like a detective, dynamically deploying temporary sensors to hunt down sudden, event-driven data, like how an ecosystem reacts immediately to a severe storm. It's the best of both worlds.
Section 4. Governing the AI ecologist, bounded autonomy.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it tackles the big question. As these AI capabilities continue to escalate, how do we keep humans safely in the loop? Notice how this autonomy ladder clearly defines the boundaries. It slowly scales up AI permissions purely on risk. Down at level 0, it's just assistive, drafting literature matrices, pretty harmless. As we move up to level 2, it's executing reversible digital forecasts. But look at levels 4 and 5, when the AI is actually changing the physical world, like adjusting irrigation in a mesocosm or altering a real habitat, the minimum controls just skyrocket. We are talking independent kill switches, strict permits, and rigorous human reviews. The AI doesn't just automatically level up, it has to earn that authority.
And that ladder fits perfectly into a sequential flow we call the human-governed discovery loop. The AI co-researcher dramatically accelerates those first 3 steps, right? It synthesizes the evidence, helps build the hypotheses and models, and dynamically adjusts the adaptive observations. It speeds everything up. But the loop is physically closed by step 4, human authorization. The human governance layer always remains the final, crucial gatekeeper for any consequential physical action.
Which brings us to the absolute golden rule for ecological AI: bounded autonomy with unbounded auditability. This is absolutely crucial. As we grant an AI system more autonomy to make decisions, our ability to audit that system must completely expand alongside it. Every data source, every piece of code, every decision pathway, and every human override must be rigorously logged and completely traceable. We just can't let the AI become a black box where we cross our fingers and trust the output. We have to know exactly how it arrived at its conclusions. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought. If AI is mapping the evidence, running the models, and directing the sensors, what exactly is the future role of the human mind in automated science? Well, the source material makes it clear. The goal is absolutely not replacement. It's a symbiotic partnership. The AI extends our cognitive limits and processes data at unimaginable scales, sure. But the human ecologist provides the wisdom, the ethics, and that vital contextual judgment that machines simply do not have. The future laboratory isn't just an algorithm running the world. It's a beautifully complex partnership between human care and machine scale. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this leaves you wanting to explore even more about the future of our digital and natural worlds.